It is challenging getting into the market, primarily for first-time home buyers, when it comes to saving money and putting it aside for your first purchase.
Yeah, it definitely is, but there are some government programs that really help you save for that down payment. And we're going to go through 3 of those today.
Hey there, I'm Jesse Chidwick.
And I'm Michelle Chidwick with Team Apex Real Estate. And today we're going to talk about 3 different ways for you to save for your down payment.
Okay, so you mentioned 3 different ways that first-time home buyers can put money away and get into the market. What's the first one?
Yeah, so we have the tax-free savings account, also known as TFSA, and this allows you to put $6,000 into it per year. Any investment income you make on this contribution is tax-free. Also, when you withdraw these funds, it is also tax-free. This is a great opportunity to start chipping away at your down payment.
So just for clarification here, so $6,000 annually.
Yes.
And any return on top of that is not taxable.
That's correct.
So the TFSA goes from $6,000 to $8,000. Those dollars can be allocated towards your down payment.
100%.
Sounds like a pretty good investment. So for high income earners, this is going to be a good way for them to lower their
Tax liability.
tax liability. Thank you for putting that together.
You're welcome.
So now let's jump into that second category, which is RRSP. Can you unpack that a bit for us?
Yeah, so the Registered Retirement Savings Plan allows you to take out up to $35,000 to use for your first purchase, tax-free. Yeah.
Okay, so that's awesome. Is there anything that potential buyers should be aware of when they're contributing to our RRSP?
Yeah, not in terms of contributing, but from the withdrawal standpoint, it does minimize then your retirement savings. So you just have to weigh the pros and cons there.
Okay, so let's talk about the situation where somebody is employed and their employer is also contributing and matching their RRSP. So for example, $15,000 is put in there, and the company that, let's say they work for is UPS. They're matching $15,000. So now they're at $30,000. They can pull that $30,000 out and use that towards their down payment for their house? Yes, they can.
Yes, they can. I didn't know if it was a trick question because the way you were wording
but
it.
then you have but again,
But
what
yeah,
you
don't
also
you
have to keep in mind, now I don't have the exact time frame, maybe you can pull this up and find it, but the dollar amount that is pulled out needs to be reinvested by a certain time frame.
Is that not TFSA?
No, RRSP. And I'll actually give you an example. When we bought our first house, it was with $30,000 in RRSP, which we then had to repay.
Did you pay it back?
We did,
I think
but
it's
we
15
only repaid $30,000 because this was before we can incorporate, and we dumped a bunch of money in our RRSP to offset our income.
Yes.
To limit our tax exposure. So there's another avenue where you can use RRSPs for purchasing real estate. But, and this is the big but, make sure you speak to your account in terms of repayment plans and what that timeline is going to look like. Because if you don't, you're probably going to get hammered with taxes. Now, there is a new program that's been rolled out. FHAS, is that correct?
That is not correct.
It's not correct?
FHSA.
Okay.
Yes.
Just
First home savings account.
Okay, and this was not an April Fool's joke. This was legitimately rolled out April 1st.
That's correct.
Okay, can you unpack this for us?
Yeah. Basically, this is the best of a TFSA and an RRSP. It's a bit of a hybrid of the both of them. It's like a TFSA in that it is not taxable. You can contribute up to $8,000 per year, up to $40,000 to use for your first home.
Okay, so if this was a vehicle, this would be very fuel efficient, green.
Sure.
It's awesome. It's a hybrid.
Yeah.
And it's eco-friendly, so you can actually drive in the carpool lane by yourself.
What is going on? Also, when you withdraw the funds from the FHSA, you can use this as a tax credit to therefore then reduce your tax liability for that year as well. And that's how it's like an RRSP. So for a real life example for this new FHSA, we can both save $8,000 a year up to $40,000 over the lifetime of this account. So if I put in $8,000 each year for the next 4 years, I would then be up to my max contribution. Oh, it's 5 years.
That's 32.
It's 5 years. My math wasn't math.
Okay, so your math is off. It's actually 5 years.
Yeah, so 5 years. So if I was putting $8,000 away in this account for 5 years, I'd be up to my max contribution of 40 grand.
Now, let's say we're not married, okay, but we're going to buy it together. Am I able to do that as well? And we can now match, so we're both in at 40K?
And it's individual accounts, so you can also do the same. So say if you did the same, we would then have 80 grand to put towards our first home.
$80,000. Now, quick math, 10% down, 800,000. So in that 5 years, if we're diligent and we're working together as a team using this new, what's it called again?
FHSA.
Okay, we've now got $80,000 that we can go into the marketplace. 10% down, 800K would hypothetically be our budget.
Yeah, exactly. Or if we wanted to do the minimum down payment there, and we wanted to save some of that money for maybe renos in the house, we can definitely do that too.
Tax free, correct?
Correct. Also, something to note is that you can carry forward some of this yearly contribution. So say you had a bit of a rough income year and you could only set aside $5,000. The next year, say you're making better money, you can then put $11,000 in. So your max of 8 plus the 3 left over from last year. So there is a carry forward option.
Okay, so that's really good to know. Now, we know obviously this is very challenging and we're talking about the 3 different avenues, but one of the best practices, and this is something that I did for getting myself into the market, was at that time I was working in a corporate job, and automatically I had, I believe it was 30% of my paycheck going into certain investments. So I didn't even notice these investments coming off of the top dollar, and this was the funds that I used when I went to go buy my first house.
Yeah, that's a great idea. And I know speaking with some individuals over at Investors Group in Orangeville, they say you want to practice your payments before you get into the market to make sure you are financially ready. So while you're practicing these payments, say you think your mortgage is going to be $2,500 per month and you're practicing this, why don't you put that $2,500 per month away in some of these savings accounts and just see it build up?
That's a really good point. Now, if we missed anything, be sure to drop it down in the comments. Make sure you smash that like button and hit subscribe so you don't miss another video.
Thanks for watching.